Now, having installed third-party plugins, you should have something that looks a little bit like this. We have got the preview going on in the in this menu here. We've also got the image feed here, and we can change the image feed location by going to the image feed location here, and that allows us to have the image feed there. You can resize it as well. So we've got all of these things going on, and it's looking good. It's looking a little bit more welcoming when you run a prompt. However, we've also got the save image here, which you can resize. And when we work with the save image, we're saving to a default directory. That default directory is going to be inside of the path for Comfy UI, but we can change the default directory. And when working with Automatic 11.11, one of the things you might want to do is to have the default directory for saving to be the same directory for Automatic 11.11. And we also might want to ensure that we have the same location for Automatic 11.11 checkpoints and other models that we're going to be using. So let's take a look to see how we do that. Now I'm going to bring up the Comfy UI directory for Comfy UI. Inside of Comfy UI, the Comfy UI directory itself, we've got a file called extraModelPaths.yaml.example. Some of you who looked at the installation instructions on GitHub may already know about this. And we can remove the .example, and having done that, we can have a file called extraModelPaths.yaml. And when we edit that file, what we end up with is something that looks like this. So I think I can zoom in. Yep. So I've edited the file so that it's pointing to the Stable Diffusion automatic. It should be A1111, but I think there's a 1 missing there. We're pointing to the base path for Automatic 11.11. That allows it to access all the models that we use with the with Automatic 11.11. So we don't have to download 2 of everything, and we can just focus on keeping one of the installations up to date in terms of the models. Now this config file also has location data for the other models that we'll be using, the LoRa's, upscale models, embeddings, control nets, and you can edit this. I've edited it to include a couple of places where there are checkpoints, and notice the way that the backslashes and forward slashes differ. So you've got forward slashes here, backslashes there. So you may want to do something like this for the extra model paths YAML file. In the NVIDIA GPU bat file, the run NVIDIA GPU bat file, you can also include an output directory. And I think it may actually be useful if I zoom out a little bit with this one. So you might want to put an output directory, and it's --output directory, and you can have the same output directory as Automatic 11.11, which is what I've done here. Now that's something which makes it easier to manage files inside of Comfy UI using the Automatic 11.11 user interface. There are some plugins for Automatic 11.11 that are really good for image management. Within the manager, there is an option for alternatives of A1111, and that is something you might want to take a look at if you want to see options that are extensions that can be used to try to replicate some features that you may find inside of Automatic 11.11. So, it's up to you whether you go here or not. I'm going to be keeping the number of extensions that I install to a minimum. That's how I prefer to work, and it's exactly the opposite of Automatic 11.11, where people just install everything. I prefer to keep everything nice and minimal whilst we're working in this particular space. The space is very much devoted to the workflow. So the workflow is kind of the UI, and I prefer to keep it nice and simple and not overcomplicated. But for some essential features, we will need plugins, and we have to be able to install them and use them occasionally for certain functions.